Hello class! For today's lesson, we are going to be looking at Transformers Generations, it's up there, I'll grab the camera here for a second, Combiner Wars Decepticon Dragstrip. So obviously they didn't have the rights, the trademark to just Dragstrip, they had to call him Decepticon, because anybody who's a fan of G1 already knows that a bright yellow car that's not a VW or a Lamborghini must be a Decepticon Stunticon. Okay, yeah, I know. At any rate, so we got the packaging here. We can see a picture of Dragstrip there on the back, and we've got him in packaging here. And on this little label, it says, "Combine to form," and then a few other languages, and then, oh, I guess we have to turn around. Superion, which actually you can't really even see Dragstrip in this picture. But if you look down here, we can see he's 1 of 5 for Menasor. Sorry, 1 of 5 for Menasor. Menasor, yeah, I'm interested in. Superion, not as much. I always like Menasor better. And that was primarily because of Motormaster. So there we've got the vehicle mode. We've got him here in the package. He looks like he's had his shoulders dislocated because they're both hanging really low, but I think that's just the way they packaged it. Some of the kibble. And then on the back, we've got, again, a picture of Dragstrip. It's 9 steps to transform. I wonder who gets to count these things. And the text there, I won't show you. It just says, "Ruthless Decepticon Racer." That, more or less, to me, describes pretty much all the Stunticons. Well, I know. It's because he's a race car. The other ones are not. Whatever. Anyways. And then we have a schematic to make him a piece of Superion. Which, again, doesn't make any sense to me. This whole wave makes no sense to me whatsoever. Because you got Silverbolt, aerial bot. Skydive, aerial bot. Firefly, aerial bot. Alpha Bravo, who I don't know who the hell that is. There was no Alpha Bravo in the original aerial bots. But anyways, and then Dragstrip. So I'm guessing in the next wave, they will have the other Stunticons, who I'm having a really hard time coming up with all the names right now. Dead End, Breakdown, Motormaster, and Wild Ride, I think, were the rest of them. I might be wrong on that last one. At any rate. So yeah, that's the back of the packaging. You can see it there. So I think we've had... Actually, I like the packaging on this figure. It looks cool. I just like the cool picture, and it looks good. It looks like they put some effort into it, which is nice.
I'm trying to figure out what all 4 of the languages are. Usually we just see English and French. What are the other ones?
One is Spanish.
But I can't quite figure out the 4th.
I don't know. Type it into Google. It'll tell you. So,
magic.
Magic of the interwebs! Okay, so I'm going to open this up and we'll have a closer look at Decepticon Dragstrip. And we're back. We are continuing our look at Dragstrip. Decepticon Dragstrip. One of the 5 Stunticons. We can see we have a car that rolls, which is nice, because sometimes you get a vehicle that doesn't roll too well. Which is good. Actually, it's weird that it feels funny with the vehicle being this large. I don't know why. There's something about it that just feels off. It almost feels, I don't want to say cheap, but it feels funny. I just don't know how else to describe it. It doesn't feel like the vehicle mode should be this big. At any rate. This is a combiner. And before we turn him into Robot, maybe we'll show one of the ways we can turn him into a combiner. Let's see if I can do that here. So we're going to fold this down. And this turns around, and we can fold it down and pop it in place there on that peg. Put his head down. And then actually, and then we have to pop this part out. Now, this gray piece here, which is necessary for him to become a part of Menasor or whatever it is, I have a little bit of a difficult time popping it out, but there we go. We can grab that. And then we take this accessory, which we'll look at maybe in a little more detail in a little bit, and that's his foot. And then we can stick it on there, and boom! We've got a knee to a foot of combiner form mode thing. Which is excellent. Actually, it looks decent, too. I'm at least moderately impressed with this. It looks pretty good. So, we can get rid of that. And then if we put this back, we can put him back into his robot form. So we'll just pop that back in place, like so. So if we want to turn him into a robot, we're going to do the Evil Prof standard way of transforming a Transformer, and that's just to kind of pry at things until they come apart. Pop the arms out. Pull the legs down. There we go. They snap out. Rotate there at the waist. We can separate there. And then we can adjust his arms so that they don't look like his shoulders are dislocated. We can fold out his hands, which is great. And then we turn around his head, and then boom, we've got a robot, which is excellent. Actually, it's a relatively simple transformation. I know one of the things, whoops, got a finger there in the lens. It's one of the things they advertise now about how many steps it takes to transform him, or a figure, and I don't know if that was 9 steps or not, but that was turning it into a robot. And altogether, it's not too bad. It's weird, though. It feels like a smaller scale figure that they just made larger. It feels more like a Legends class figure, or I believe a Scout, sometimes they call them, that they've made bigger. I don't know why, but that's just the feeling I get out of this figure. Anyways, so I can give you a quick 360-degree view of the figure. You can see we've got the full front of the car mode, or front of the car on his back there. That's a little bit of a backpack, yeah. We can see his colors, and it's more or less what we'd expect from Dragstrip. We've got largely yellow on the legs and the forearms and the chest. We can see this gray bit, which is part of his combiner mode thing, which means his head doesn't actually become the piece that sockets into the other ones. And then some of this, it's kind of a burgundy-ish color. Evil Wife, burgundy-ish.
Wine.
I don't know what the hell that is. Burgundy-ish color for his other bits that's painted on. And we can see his face there. It's kind of a light blue color, and it's got some red there for the eyes and a blue piece up there, which is, I guess, okay. His face is actually kind of neither here nor there. I don't know, I just kind of meh. If we're going to talk about the articulation for this figure, which we will, we can rotate his head all the way around, which is nice. It goes up and down. Actually, it's got an extra joint there as part of the transformation. But it does move up and down a little bit. We can rotate the shoulders all the way around. And as we've seen before, they can go up and down, which is more part of the transformation process. We can rotate there at the tricep. We can bend here at the elbow, and his hand would go back and forth a little bit. We can rotate all the way around at the waist. And for the hips, they're on ball joints, so we've got forward, backwards, side kick. We can bend at the knee. We can rotate there at the upper thigh, and that pretty much gives us all of his articulation. So it's not too bad for a figure, for a deluxe figure. For his accessories, which we should talk about a little bit, he comes with this little doodad here, and it almost looks like a gun, but I don't know, it looks like a knifey kind of gun, and I don't know if I'd want to try to pretend that he's pointing that at somebody. It's really, I think...
Gunblade?
No, because Evil Prof was not a fan of that game. At any rate, so we could do that, but that's stupid, so we won't. And what we can do is we can pop it in the other way, and so he's got a small sword instead. Actually, it's more like a, I don't know. It's a small-ish sword, actually. I wouldn't be impressed by that if I was an Autobot. Anyways, but that's his primary weapon, which means he's going to run up and gut people with it, which altogether is not too bad. The other thing that he came with that we saw before was this foot. And what we can do is we can pry this open, and we'll need that in a second. We can pry that open there, fold this down, and then we've got a hand, which we'll look at in a second. The other thing that he came with, which we should mention very quickly, is a cute little collector's card that says Decepticon Dragstrip. And it's a picture of him holding a gun, which he doesn't have, in a color scheme that he doesn't have. His Decepticon emblem's on the opposite side of his chest. The face doesn't look anything like him. He doesn't have these exhaust ports on his shoulders. It's actually a very poor representation of the figure. It's a cool looking picture of the character, but it in no way resembles the figure itself. His wheels are on his shoulders here, but it's clearly not on the figure. It says Transformers Generations. Said it's a cool looking picture, it just doesn't really represent the figure at all. So altogether, not too bad. He's got some decent posability. I don't know. The lack of a gun bothers me a little bit. But what we can do, and we will see if we can do this, as we continue. We'll get rid of that. We'll fold in his hands. We'll turn his head backwards. And then we will rotate his shoulders up. Oh, we'll pop that backwards. Sorry. Fold these over. Oh, do the same thing there. We put his legs back together, maybe, if I can. There we go. And then we're going to fold his shoulders down a little bit. Now, the next tricky part, again, is popping that gray thing out. I think we need to rotate that a little bit. If we rotate this way, there we go. We can grab this hand and we can pop it in there. And now we have an arm for a Gestalt Combiner figure, or Menasor, if you will. You could also turn it that way and have it so that it bends. And then this would pop into the other bits of, or I guess the torso of our Combiner figure, whoever that may be. And then we have an arm. So he can be an arm and a leg, which is nice because that's the way all of the Scramble City Combiners are supposed to be. Which is, again, pretty good. This doodad here, actually it's funny on the camera, it looks very, very like a bluish purple, but when I'm just looking at it, it's a much reddish shade of purple, which is interesting. It's just interesting to see how the camera picks up the color versus what I'm seeing right in front of me. And it can hold the weapon as well, kinda. And it just looks like a shiv, really. You'd think with a combiner that size, you'd be able to get a bigger weapon. It's not terribly impressive like that. But, whoops. Get lost. Anyways, we can put that back together. So eventually, hopefully, maybe, we will turn this into one larger robot and see a combined version of the Combiner Wars figures. My objective is to get all of the Stunticons. I don't know about the aerial bots. And I don't even know about the Prime, to be perfectly honest with you, because it looks horrible. But anyways, that, I think, is our lesson. Oh, wait, we gotta stop. If I were to give this figure a grade, because it's a thing that I do, unless I forget. You know what? We'll give Dragstrip a B. It's a pretty good figure. It stands up pretty well. Some of the joints are starting to feel a little loose already. The face is kind of meh, in my opinion. But it's a combiner, so... it actually transforms, and it's pretty well on its own. A lot of Combiner figures tend to suck on their own because they're designed in a way to just become a limb or something. But this one's not too bad on its own. It's, again, a deluxe scale figure, but it feels a little bit more like a Scout class, just made bigger. Which, you know, I guess is neither here nor there. It's not bad. At any rate, that now is our lesson on Combiner Wars Decepticon Dragstrip. Thank you very much, and class is dismissed.